I used to think my wife, Emily, was my safe place, the person I'd grow old with, the one I'd never have to doubt. That belief shattered the night she came home at 2 a.m. She claimed she was out with coworkers, but her perfume was different, stronger, sweeter, not one she owned. And the way she avoided my eyes, something inside me twisted. The next morning, she was overly affectionate. Kisses, compliments, cooking breakfast, acting like the perfect wife. It didn't feel loving. It felt like a distraction. That's when I noticed her phone had a new lock screen. Not a photo of us, just a black screen with a passcode I didn't know. Her laughter changed too. She started giggling at her phone in a way she used to at my jokes, then turning it face down if I walked near. But the real gut punch, she suddenly suggested I should start working later nights. That space is healthy. Space? We'd never needed space before. There was a moment at dinner that locked everything into place. When I reached for her hand, she flinched as if my touch was suddenly unfamiliar. Something was wrong, deeply wrong. And I decided that night I was going to find out what. But I had no idea how dark the truth really was. Once I started paying attention, the signs multiplied. Emily began dressing up for errands, full makeup, heels, red lipstick she never wore for me. She'd leave smiling and return exhausted, irritated, claiming she was stressed from work, but her perfume was always fresh, never faded like someone who'd been at the office all day. Then her phone calls. She'd answer in another room and whisper. If I walked too close, she'd ham up instantly and accuse me of hovering or not trusting her. One night, I heard her in the bathroom talking quietly. I walked toward the door. Suddenly silence. Then the shower turned on, even though she had clearly just finished talking. She never showered with her phone until that week. Our marriage was slipping through my fingers, and she didn't even try to hide it anymore. She changed her phone password twice, started locking her laptop, and turned off read receipts on every app. Then came the girls' night out. She sent me a selfie with her friends, except I knew it was old. She was wearing a dress she donated 3 months earlier. I texted her asking what bar they were at. No response. For 2 hours, but 15 minutes after 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. Emily, sorry babe, fell asleep at Sarah's. No apology, no explanation, no warmth. And that night, I found the very first real crack in her story. Something she couldn't erase, couldn't hide, a clue that told me I was closer to the truth than she realized.
The next morning, Emily was in the shower when her smartwatch lit up on the nightstand. A message preview flashed. Not a name, just initials. A.W. And then the words that made my stomach drop. Last night was unreal. Can't stop thinking about it. I stared at that screen like it was a loaded gun. When she came out of the shower and saw me near the watch, her face drained just for a split second. Then she forced a smile, like nothing happened. Looking for something? She asked, voice too sweet. I didn't mention the message. I needed more. That evening, while she went for a run, I checked our phone bill. One number appeared over and over, late at night, during work hours, even while we were on our anniversary trip. I called it. A man answered. The moment he heard my voice, just a single confused hello, he hung up immediately, and then the number blocked mine. When Emily came home, sweaty from her so-called run, she tossed her phone on the counter. It lit up again. A.W. Did he call? I didn't breathe, didn't move, pretended I hadn't seen it. Her entire story was collapsing, and she didn't even know I was watching. But when I finally confronted her, carefully, gently, she turned everything upside down. Not with tears, not with apologies, with lies so sharp they cut deeper than the truth ever could. I approached her calmly. No accusations, just honesty. I feel like you're hiding something from me. We don't talk anymore. She didn't hesitate. She laughed. Cold, mocking laugh I'd never heard from her before. Oh my God, you're being paranoid again. Again? I'd never accused her of anything before. She walked past me, shaking her head like I was impossible to deal with. Then she flipped the script so fast it made my head spin. You've been controlling lately. You watch
watch me like I'm doing something wrong. You're the reason I need space. Every sentence was a knife, and somehow each one made her the victim. When I asked about the late nights, she said I was inventing problems. When I mentioned the locked phone, she called it normal privacy. When I brought up the phone calls, she said I needed therapy for my trust issues. And then the final blow, if you really loved me, you'd stop questioning me. I stood there, speechless, because I did love her too much, and she used that love like a weapon, twisting every truth until I doubted my own mind. The next few days were hell. She acted like nothing happened, kissing me in the kitchen, holding my hand on the couch while texting that man the second I looked away. Her lies weren't careless, they were calculated. She wasn't hiding an affair. She was preparing for a life where I didn't exist. And the moment I realized that, I started planning too. I had to know for sure. Not fragments, not suspicions, the whole truth. And I found it by accident on the night that changed everything forever.
It happened on a Sunday night. Emily said she was going to the gym, but she left wearing heels. I waited 5 minutes, grabbed my keys, and followed, keeping my headlights off, staying back just far enough. She didn't drive toward the gym. She drove across town to a hotel. I parked where she couldn't see me. My heart was punching my ribs so hard I could barely breathe. From the lobby window, I watched her walk in. She didn't look nervous. She looked excited. Minutes later, a man stepped out of the elevator wearing a suit. Gray hair, older, confident, probably in his 40s. He didn't rush to her. He pulled her in, like he already owned her. She kissed him back, hungry, familiar, like she was his, not mine. I felt the world tilt. But what destroyed me wasn't the kiss. It was what she said after, when they laughed on their way to the elevator. He still thinks nothing's going on. I could tell him I'm leaving tomorrow, and he'd probably apologize. They disappeared upstairs. I sat in my car shaking. Rage, grief, humiliation, all burning inside me. I could have stormed in, could have flipped tables, thrown punches, exposed everything. But instead, I forced myself to wait, to breathe, because I wanted the truth, every detail, before I confronted her. I stayed there for almost 2 hours. And when she finally walked out of that hotel, her arm wasn't just linked with his. She was holding a folder, and inside I could see the bold title through the plastic sleeve. Leave and relocation timeline. Final draft. Not just cheating, she was planning to disappear without me. When Emily walked through the front door, I was already sitting at the dining table. Lights off, folder in front of me. She froze. Her keys slipped from her hand and hit the floor, echoing through the room. "Where did you get that?" she whispered. I didn't yell, didn't cry, didn't give her chaos to twist against me. "I followed you," I said. "I saw everything." For the first time, she didn't have a lie ready. Her mouth opened, then closed. Her eyes darted everywhere except to mine. Finally, she snapped. "You had no right to spy on me." That was her defense. I told her I knew about the calls, the hotel, the timeline to leave me. I told her I knew about AW. Suddenly, her mask cracked and she turned cruel. "You were holding me back. I found someone better, someone who actually matters." I felt the floor vanish beneath me. She took a slow breath, like she'd been waiting to say the next line for months. "I was going to tell you eventually. I just needed everything lined up first." Her relocation timeline, her new life, her exit strategy, all prepared while she kissed me goodnight and pretended to love me. I asked her one last question. Was any of it ever real? Her silence was the answer. She didn't cry. She didn't look guilty. She didn't even look sad. She just looked annoyed, like I was interrupting her plans. That's when I realized the confrontation wasn't for her. It was for me, because now I had to make the hardest decision of my life, while my entire future collapsed around me. She went upstairs, started packing bags without saying a word. No apology, no goodbye, just closure on her terms. I didn't stop her, but I didn't make it easy either. While she was upstairs, I removed my card from our shared bank account, froze the joint credit line, and canceled the automatic transfers she set up. Payments I didn't even know she'd been routing to herself. When she came back down, she saw her card decline when she tried ordering a rideshare. She glared at me like I had betrayed her. "You're pathetic," she hissed. I stayed calm, even though everything inside me was breaking. "You're free to leave," I said, "but you don't get to take the life we built with you." Her jaw clenched. She stormed out and called someone. Him, obviously. 20 minutes later, the same gray-suited man pulled up outside and loaded her bags into his car. She didn't look back, not once. The door closed behind her, and the silence hit like a bomb. The next days were brutal. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I replayed every moment of our marriage, wondering how long she'd been gone emotionally before she left physically. But the worst moment came 3 nights later when she texted me, "You regret this. You'll never find someone like me." And for a split second, I believed her because I was alone, broken, humiliated. But then something happened, something I didn't expect. A message from someone I never thought I'd hear from, and it turned everything upside down again.
The message wasn't from Emily. It was from her sister, Claire. We'd barely spoken in years. I assumed she took Emily's side in everything. But her text said, "I'm so sorry. I warned her she'd lose you. She didn't listen. She told me Emily had been seeing that man for almost a year, that she bragged about juggling 2 lives, that she enjoyed the lies, the thrill of kidding away with." And then Claire said something I'll never forget. She didn't leave because you weren't enough. She left because nothing will ever be enough for her. That sentence saved me. I realized Emily's betrayal wasn't proof that I was unworthy. It was proof that she was incapable of love. Real love. The kind that requires honesty, loyalty, and vulnerability. The pain didn't vanish overnight. There were still days when my chest felt hollow and the silence in the house felt too big. But little by little, something replaced the pain. Peace. I didn't have to monitor her phone. Didn't have to wonder where she was. Didn't have to fight for affection like I was competing with a ghost. I could finally breathe. Months passed. I rebuilt myself, slowly, quietly, and without rage. And one afternoon, while walking through a park, I saw a couple laughing together. Not with performance, not for attention, just genuine joy. I didn't envy them. I didn't ache. I just thought, one day, that'll be me again. Because losing someone who never really loved you isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of the one where you finally learn how to love yourself.